so much, everyone, for joining us wherever you are watching on the globe. Of course, you know that what we are following and tracking right now on Politics Today is a call for the postponement of Edo governorship election, crucial election in Nigeria's oil-rich South state, where everybody is looking towards the election day. It's just about 3 days to that election, and security agencies are saying, postpone the election. Will INEC yield to that call? What is the basis for the call for the postponement of the election? Clement Nwanko, the convener, election situation room, he's been talking to us on the program about this call. He's told us that the civil society are shocked. Well, people in Edo State, based on what we've heard and seen, they're still yet to wrap their heads around the news coming about the postponement. Clement Nwanko, we're talking to us now about that situation. Now, when we wonder, I'm very sure that you've heard snippet about what the police authorities are saying about the postponement. What does that have any basis at all? Because one would be wondering, the election date, it was not just picked today. There are prior information, and from what we understand, thousands of security operatives will be deployed for this election. What exactly could be the problem?
We don't know. Coming into Edo State, it was apparent that there was very little police presence, sufficient enough, and you would need to build up over a couple of days to achieve 25,000 ahead of less than 48 hours to the election. It would seem to me that efforts were not even being made to deploy that number. Secondly, we did have one of the partner organizations of the Nigeria Civil Society Situation Room, the Clean Foundation, release after several weeks of assessment of the security situation in the country, a report that indicated that 9 of the local governments in this state was in absolute peaceful condition. A total of 5 other states were in what we call amber situation, which means there could be the possibility, but remote, of violence. Only 3 local governments were identified to have the slight possibility of more than 30% of serious violence. What you expect from that situation is that the security services will deploy in those 3 local governments, will be well mobilized, and can contain just 3 local governments. So what is clear to us, the announcement put out by the police was advising that Nigerians, and when the international community, particularly the US and some other countries, issued travel advisories on Nigeria, the Minister of Information was shouting that this was impossible. Now the state itself, the Nigerian government, has issued a travel advisory to the world that Nigeria was going to be unsafe. And the Edo State was cited as one of the several states.
The intriguing part of this whole scenario is the fact that a few minutes away from when the stakeholders meeting was going on with all the security agencies represented there and the politicians and INEC, there wasn't any sort of call. A few minutes after, the news went around town. Do you think that there's something fishy about this call?
We reject the postponement that is being advised by the police. We do not think that the facts on ground justify a call for postponement or an advice by the police and the DSS for postponement of elections or the governorship elections scheduled for Saturday, 10th of September. We believe that given the facts on ground, there is no reason for postponing these elections. We believe that any attempt to postpone these elections will certainly appear and give a strong impression that the independence of the Independent National Electoral Commission is being tampered with by the state, given that Nigeria and given that this party ruling Nigeria today emerged from the struggle of civil society to achieve a strong and independent INEC. We are quite shocked to see that this is happening in this period.
Isn't it also something that concerns everybody, because security is very important, of lives, of property, of materials of in this election. Do you think that maybe we should listen to these police and the security agencies? Maybe there's something they've seen that we do not know as laymen in this area.
No. The Independent National Commission, the police, the DSS and other security services are part of what you call an interagency committee They do meet regularly. There is no indication from INEC to us at the meetings we have held with them that in their meetings any issue was discussed in the interagency committee meetings. So clearly this is something that is thrown from where we don't know into the ring.
Mr. Nwanko has been talking to us. Let's listen to INEC now. The chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Yakubu Mahmoud. Just a few minutes ago, just at about 6 p.m., he was speaking with stakeholders. I was there also when everybody was asking questions about this exercise. Take a listen to the INEC chairman on his take on this sort of confusion, isn't it?
Like I say on this note. But let me, as we close, once again thank the politicians, the civil society organizations, candidates and parties in the Edo election. I've said in the morning that I was looking forward to Edo being a model for conduct of successful, credible, fair electoral process. My optimism remains in spite of this development. And all I've had here is a further affirmation of my conviction that that is going to be the case. So we'll come back quickly, and we hope that the same understanding and the spirit of camaraderie will prevail. On behalf of INEC, on behalf of the National Commissioners, I want to thank you most sincerely for your contributions, for your passion. INEC will never let you down. Thank you and good night.
Of course, INEC Chairman Professor Yakubu Mahmoud talking there about the situation of things. It doesn't look so much like INEC is decided over all of this issue. Consultations with stakeholders, they need to meet again to find out exactly what all of this means. Well, one would be wondering that that security agents, that the police went on air to say postpone this election and there is no official communication with INEC. That's another intriguing part of it. As far as INEC told us, they do not up till the last hour or so have any official communication from the security agencies on this. They just heard them on television and online. They've seen all of this playing out. Clement Nwanko has been talking to us about this situation. But as it stands now, what is the implication? For example, if INEC yield to the call of the security agencies, we know 2015 in February that the elections were postponed for 6 weeks, and INEC yielded to that call. If INEC yield to this call right now, just 3 days to the election, what is the implication, first and foremost, to INEC?
We opposed it in 2015, but even though in 2015 there were build-up to that, here this is a sudden pull from the heart, and we have no idea why this is so. Should INEC yield to this without consultation, without evidence that these reasons are justifiable, then I think that the problem it has is that it leads to further deterioration in the confidence that people have in the electoral system, which would be sad for us. And building up to elections in Ondo in November, the general elections in 2019, it will be sad for this country were we to go to a general election in 2019 to see an INEC whose credibility has been damaged by the interferences of the executive in the work that it should do. This is dangerous for Nigeria, dangerous for Nigeria's democracy.
The materials for the elections are ready. For example,
said it is ready. It said that very clearly in the consultations we had today. From the part of civil society, we have finished consultations with INEC. We have made it very clear that we oppose any postponement. If INEC needs services from civil society organizations to do whatever is needed to do to ensure that this happens, we will do so, but we have no further consultations on this matter with INEC.
Clement, you've worked so much with INEC, closely with INEC, and you've seen just how they operate as a civil society person. If INEC postponed this election today, what does it mean?
What it means is that there is interference in electoral process and electoral independence.
Logistics-wise?
Logistics-wise, I think it is INEC's duty to demand that the police provide it with logistics. Certainly, it is understandable if INEC cannot go further because it doesn't have the backing of the security services.
Can they still use the materials in another,
Well, if the materials are still safe and within the confines that it has been and has not been exposed, yes, it can still be used.
Okay, we go on a short break, and when we return, solution. That's what we'll be talking about. Do stay with us. We'll be right back.